No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, SwampSwimmer, and with me, as always, the Vesemir to my Geralt, Vespasian.
There you go. Nice. Get the reference. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, people are watching the Witcher series on Netflix. But the reason why I did that comparison is because it's been a while since we caught up on movies / shows that we've been watching in nerd culture in general. I just want to point out I saw a few weeks ago. I finally saw Spider-Man: No Way Home, which was fantastic. If you're a Spider-Man, if you're a fan of Spider-Man at all, there's so much in there. It's a great movie. But then also last weekend, or a little while ago, I saw the new Batman, The Batman. And there's been some mixed reviews. Some people don't like how slow and dreary. It's very film noir. Like every scene, it's raining. Every scene is dark and gloomy and brooding. And but that bothered some people, and it's really slow. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. Kind of went back to like Batman the detective instead of Batman the action star. Not a single hint of comic relief. No moments of levity in this film, but it was pretty freaking awesome. I loved it.
Okay, good. No, that's been on my list. My broader nerd network told me that it was worth a watch. I mean, Gotham is always like, feels like right on the precipice of disaster. Very dark. So I mean, that seems like old news. But yeah, I'll check it out. I just finished season 5 of Last Kingdom. Have you ever watched it?
No, but a couple people have recommended that to me.
It's great. It's really great. I'm a big fan of it. It comes with my hearty recommendation, and there's 5 seasons of it, so plenty of binge watching available.
Very bingeable. Yeah. I remember I started to watch it and I couldn't get into I watched maybe an episode or two and it wasn't catching me, but I'm definitely gonna give it a second try. A few, like at least 3 people have told me to check it out because it's the last season, right?
One thing that's worth noting is that they kind of do like a time, like the first 1 or 2 episodes is like the kid timeline of the main character, and then it time warps to him being a bit more grown up. So that's something that you kind of have to realize that it's not just following some 8-year-old around in the Middle Ages, right? So anyways, yeah, it's I definitely I just talked my brother-in-law into watching it, and and I think he watched it in a week because he was a little sick and had some time off. So
nice.
Just powered through it.
And you know what? Also recently I finished off Wheel of Time, which I think overall that was pretty good. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't it didn't blow my mind. But it was good. It was good. Definitely worth
I hope for more from that series. I think I'll keep at it with season 2 and when it comes out, because it's already being filmed. I'll keep at it. I feel like it was I was more bullish after the first couple of episodes, and it felt like it slumped a little bit in sort of middle to late season. But I think I think we talked about this before, that show requires a lot of world building, right? And so hopefully they invested the time in the right places in season 1, and they've got a good foundation to build off of. Yeah.
And the other thing worth mentioning is the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon Prime, I think, is the Rings of Power. Everything I see for that looks pretty cool. I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some grumblings about things. People are worried they're gonna, sexify, Lord of the Rings, which, I think is not necessarily something that needs to happen, but probably will, following the Game of Thrones model, right? But
Yeah.
other than that, the visuals look cool. The context I think will be cool to explore. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely give it a shot. Not against it.
Yeah, I definitely say that was one knock I had for the Wheel of Time series was they injected a lot of sexuality into the show, which I don't remember from the books, but it might be there if I'm not remembering it correctly. But
It's there. It's definitely less overt than GOT, for sure, like book to book. But it definitely there's some elements of it. I think they ramped it up, but I mean, like that's their cash machine these days, right?
yeah, it's true. It's true. But anyway, there's so much content out there to watch. You got our recommendations. Let us know what you think in the chat. Or not the chat, the comments. But let's get to the battle report. We are on to round 3 of March to War in Portland, Oregon. And let's see here. Round 1, I had the big win. I had a 20. Round 2, I had that come from behind win of like a 13 or something like that. And I get paired into our good friend Ben from Seattle playing his Dread Elves, which I'm a little scared about. Dread Elves are a hard matchup for my good old beast herds.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Ben's definitely one of the better players at this journey. Yeah. This should be tough sledding. Yeah.
Damn it. But it's in Circle King of the Hill. Let's see here. If you are interested in my list, please click the link right above my head. It is from my round 1 video where we go into my list a little more in depth. Or click the link in the description below, which is our friends in the Pacific Northwest are doing a podcast called Mid-Table Menaces, and they went over and did a list review of all the lists. But Ben is rocking this. So he's got the Outcast Master on Evocation and a Binding Scroll, the Temple Exarch General on Alchemy. Let's see here. Sluxian Officer, BSB Double Aether Icon. Excuse me. A Silent Assassin, which is always fun. 2 big blocks of spears with flaming standards. Again, not a good sign for me. Flaming and putting flammable on my units is not a good call for beast herds. 16 auxiliaries, 3 Gorgons with halberds, 14 Obsidian Guard, 5 Warlocks, 2 Raptor Chariots by the individuals, 5 Harpies, 5 Black Cloaks, and a Mist Leviathan. So, I don't know if I made it perfectly clear to the audience, but I was not too confident going into this game. Again, I was still hungover from the night before at game 3 here. So I was, but I was feeling a little bit better. So I had at least a clear head going into this game, and I was looking at them. I'm like, oh, this is scary matchup for me. Oh, and we were on table 1. I was sitting on table 1 going into round 3. I was excited about that.
Yeah, I mean this is tough. You've got good snipe targets, right, in the form of your 2. Wizards, and your BSB. All that MR is helpful, at least there. Yeah, I mean this magic I think he's got like 9 spells or something like that. It's pretty brutal. And yeah, I mean those spears strike first. They hit on 3s. Wound on rerollable, something real good. It's a tough one in the sort of like on paper matchups. I think this is where you need to try to use your chaff wisely and try to like split them up and hope for the best. So yeah
Exactly. And going into the game, I as you can see, I kind of quasi-castled. We dropped a few. And I think it was King of the Hill. So I picked the water feature in his deployment zone on the left because I knew I was going to push hard on the left. Oh, excuse me. Oh. And I think he chose the hill because that was the closest terrain feature that was that he could get to his side of the board. But yeah, he eventually did I go first? No, yeah, he dropped eventually after I think a couple drops to go first. Let's see here. Let's go over his deployment from left to right. He's got the Warlocks. He's got the Citadel Guard. Is that what they are? The Halberd guys?
Obsidian.
The Obsidian Guard. The Harpies behind them. The Mist Leviathan in the water. The Harpies in the center. And I gave him the push, the big center, and I had the big flanks. Because I wanted him to push himself together. And then me hopefully try to get around the flanks and get some double charges off. That's what I was thinking. So Harpy Gorgons, one of his 2 chariots, 1 spear block with, I believe, that had none of the characters. He put all his characters in the auxiliaries in the center here. Another spear block on the right and the chariot, and then his black cloaks scouted to right there. So me, I pushed all the way to the corner, hopefully trying to push on one side, hold the center with everything else, and see what happens. I chose the left side to push because the A, the impassable wasn't there, and B, I didn't want to go through these ruins that was on the right-hand side. And let's see here. I've got, from my left to right, I've got the Wildhorn block with Harpies behind them, my Minnow block with my BSB bunker behind them, another unit of Centaurs, but they're too wide facing forward. I placed them like this because I was just being lazy, but they're too wide facing forward. Giant behind them, Harpies next to them, the other Wildhorn block, and my other Centaurs down here. And then one single giant on the far right. I think I put him there just to make sure he didn't scout behind me. That's the only reason why the giant's on the far right there. So yeah. And also, this position also guarded me from his shooting from his auxiliaries over the hill.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the game plan. I definitely considered castling and like just not going forward. But I was feeling my oats. I wanted to go for the win. I'm like I felt I was on the top table. I needed to perform on the top table.
I feel like castling and not going forward. Oh, what were the terrain features for King of the Hill?
I chose the water feature that was in his deployment zone because I knew I was pushing hard on this left-hand side, and I was anticipating hopefully breaking down his left side.
Yeah.
And then he chose the hill.
Casting against this army that outranges you and has lots of like long kind of surgical charge ranges, you know, with the chariots and the Mist Leviathan and the Cav and the Gorgons and stuff. I feel like you probably end up sort of best case conserving like 5 points, which is not great, right?
Yeah. I definitely wasn't planning on castling. This was more of a push on his left side, but we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
So in his turn 1, oh, and that white piece of paper there is my magical forest.
Very immersive.
He just pushes forward. Oh, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. He pushes forward on the right, but doesn't push forward on the left. And kind of hangs back.
Yeah, makes sense.
Nothing crazy. I think with his snipe, he puts 1 wound on my evocation wizard.
Yeah, starts going after the casters. Makes sense.
And that was all that really happened in the magic phase. And then in my phase, I push up. I push up on the left with the 2 blocks, with everything following behind them. And then I throw... I'm a little bit worried about his spear block in the center here charging into either one of these units because he towed him up onto the hill. So I throw one centaur unit up there.
Why the centaurs, just out of curiosity, rather than the gargoyles?
I felt the centaurs weren't good in this match. So I was saving the... I knew I needed my chaff to be strong in this game, so I was saving the gargoyles, which are better chaff, till later on. I don't know if that was the right choice, but that's what I did. I also moved the second giant off to the right here, because I wanted these giants obviously into his infantry blocks. Yeah, so nothing too spectacular. I push up. I get Blackwing Totem off on my Minotaurs, which is awesome, because he's got some long charges I can consider taking here. And then in his turn, he backs up, which surprised me. Actually, no, it doesn't surprise me. That's the right move, but backs up on the left. On the right, he continues to push forward. He puts the puts the chariot into my centaurs in the center. And then pushes his black cloaks up straight towards the giants also. And of course, the chariot blows up the centaurs. Then in my turn, I think I go for a long charge with Blackwing Totem with my Minotaurs into his spear block here. Which he decides he doesn't want that Minotaur block breaking into his backfield. So he flees with it, and then I redirect into the chariot, and the Wild Horns into the chariot also. Just to try to get rid of it. And then this is pretty amazing.
You were worried that the Minotaur block couldn't do the lifting.
I think I charged with the Minotaurs first. I don't know. I think I did that to just move them forward more, or just to make sure it dies. Yeah, and then over here, these were both my giants make it into the spear block, and they both had a long charge, and I thought, all right, if I can make one of these into the spears, it'll still probably be a good fight for me. Because they were both like 10s or 11s on dice. And I thought, okay, if I make one of these guys in, he can hold up that unit for a long time and cause a bunch of damage. That was my thought process. Because, let's see here. Let's move back here. That was a long charge. Look how long they are here.
Yeah. How did you get the Black Cloaks out of the way? Did they feel a terror or something?
I think... where did they go? How did
Am I seeing them behind the other spear block? Auxiliary block?
Yeah, rather? They are. There they are. They, I think they failed a terror. They failed... Yeah, they did. They did fail a terror. So yeah, at first I thought, oh, I'll just go into the Black Cloaks, kill them, and then overrun into either another unit or the giants just out there, ready, chaffing, taking a charge, and then me countercharging. That was my thinking.
Yeah.
But I roll like crazy, and I make both giants into the spear block. I'm thinking, this is great.
He has no buffs.
No buffs up on that unit.
Okay.
So, at this point, his one spear block is fleeing. The other one has two giants into it. I'm holding the center. I'm feeling pretty good. And then, magic phase, I get Clouded Eye off on them. Why did I do that?
Hold on 1 second. Back up. What's the thinking about the centaurs over on the right? Because aren't you just giving them to his chariot?
Oh, I went for a long. I realized that too, and I went for a long charge on his chariot, but didn't make it. I get Clouded Eye and Gnarled Hide. I don't remember, because I was anticipating a counter charge here somewhere.
The Gorgons?
Yeah, I wanted to make them tougher because I was anticipating counter charges with both the probably the Gorgons. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I get that off.
It looks like you took another wound on that wizard too.
Yeah. He keeps sniping me every turn in the game. But look at this. I go in with the giants. One giant, so he goes first, obviously. The giant on the left, he one-shots the full strength giant. 7 wounds. And then on the second giant, he does 0 wounds, so I don't get extra attacks.
Whoa. So what is that? That's third. Is he hoarded? 1, 2, 3.
No, he's not.
That's 13 attacks. 2s by 5s. Whoa.
Yeah, he.
Pretty
It was
unlikely. Okay.
It was brutal.
All you needed was just 1 wound left to just.
Yeah, and then just flog him. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a bad. Of course, getting both in is also unlikely. So I guess turnabout's fair play. But yeah, that's bad luck at a key moment.
I felt pretty confident when I made those 2 charges, but then after this, it's bad because he now has a free charge to my flank of these wild horns.
Oof, well, I mean, you'll break that chariot and be able to reform, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. Let's see here.
But yeah, this is not great.
And that's exactly what I do. A reform like this, I throw my chaff out in front of, because I'm afraid these guys are going to charge the flank of my my minotaurs.
Mhm.
Let's see here. No. This is a turn, half a turn later. So yeah, I bounce over there. He reforms this way. He takes the charge with the chariot into my centaurs. But he doesn't take. It would have been a long charge into the wild horn, so he doesn't take that. So yeah, the right flank is a collapsing. And as you see here, the chariot kills the centaurs, overruns, kills the fleeing giant, turns and face.
Yeah.
Woo. And he gets a bunch of magic off of my minotaurs and takes off. That was all from shooting. I remember that. He shoots. This was all from magic and shooting. He did 9 wounds to my minotaurs.
Wow. And you charge the acolytes over on the left, it looks like?
Yeah. So I take the charge into the acolytes. I take my other piece of chaff. I throw it in front of his big bad executioner guys. And that's where we are right now. I'm still feeling okay. I felt like at this point I need to try to hold the center with this unit here and push hard on the left. I think if these wild horns, if they do well against the acolytes, and then I think even though they're going to take a bunch of damage in return, they can take on the guard here. So we'll see. So in his turn, I blow up the acolytes, which is great. I lost 5 guys, which is nothing big. He chaffs me with the harpies. He takes the charge into the chaff with the obsidian guard, and then he takes a long charge into my minotaurs with the gorgons. And man, I always hear the gorgons are good. I forget how good they are.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about this because oh right, you didn't take swiftness on the warlord. So
I
him.
I took the big bubble, the leadership bubble, instead of the swiftness.
Okay. Well, then yes, I think that match is not so great.
So he took the chariot into my Wildhorn block here, and the his what's left, his not
Spears,
really
yeah.
depleted spears into the chaff to then overrun into the block. It's really not looking good for me at this point. And look at this.
Nails
There's
the
no more Minotaurs. And I kill all but one gargoyle. Or, not gargoyle. Gorgon.
Yeah.
And look at this. I ran my wild horns into his chaff and couldn't break them. It's just all not good.
You didn't kill 5 gargoyles?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think at that point I was pretty deflated. He made it with the spears into this block here, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he blows through me. It was. This is a really interesting game. So let's go ahead and go to the end. I get 0. I was on the top table. I flew too close to the sun. I couldn't maintain my top table status at this point, and Ben showed me what's up. But let's go back to my tactics here. I mean, do you think I made the right move with the 2 giants in? Like I felt at this point I felt very confident.
Do you remember how long the charges were?
They were, I think, at least a 10 on both. I think it was a 10 and an 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like relying on that non-swift is pretty risky. I mean, obviously you made it, but if those are actually the numbers, then it's probably like a 1 in 10 that you make it with both. Yeah, at the same time, he's not likely to one-shot one. Like I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I feel like
it's like having a re-rollable, right? So you're hoping to get one and you happen to get both.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was gonna go for both. If I make one, great. If I make neither, not that big of a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I almost like. I think I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I think that it depends a little bit on the distances here. But go back one to kind of see where you were at before. Yeah. So I almost wonder if it would have been better to kind of start to kind of try to split him, like bring the giants down to the right, not charge that chariot where it overran with the wild horns, but kind of pull an angle back, so that you're kind of making it so he can't really charge or push. And then just put the minos like you did into the spears and then into the chariot, because then it's a little hard to tell from the position. Like maybe go forward 1 or 2 and see where so like right there, once he fled with the spears, the minotaurs can sit there. They can face so that the gorgons are in their front, and and do what you did. I don't think that was a bad idea. But then if the wild horns are sort of back behind the fence, then the move that he made where he brings his bunker up to like douse your minotaurs with shots would not be possible, right?
Yeah.
And then if your giants were kind of back down below where your dice pool is, right? Assuming that's long charges, then the chariot can kind of move up, but then he gets charged, right? And the spears can start to swing around, because what he wants is the spears into your wild horns, right? So they can start to swing around, but then they get a giant in the flank, and he has no chaff on that side once the black cloaks are gone. So I think centaurs and black cloaks overrun chaff, pull the giants back, keep the wild horns back, keep the minos up in the center. And then what I would have done is just prioritize buffing the snot out of those minos with defensive buffs, right? Hard target, armor, right? Like awaken the beast for toughness, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a little, I don't know, it's tough. Like, I definitely understand what you were trying to do there, but then like play it out. So he sticks, you get one giant in, let's say on average. He doesn't kill him. You both stick there. He kills it the following turn.
Well, that's the thing. He might not next turn because the +1 to wound only happens in the first round of combat, right?
Well, yeah, but he's got the chariot there. I mean, I guess maybe he doesn't, but he's also got 17 ways to make him reroll the wound, right?
Yeah, true.
Like he can make you res 4. He can reroll the wound with either of the alchemy spells or the. So then he's got a spear brick that's slightly depleted, and you lost a giant.
Yeah. The highs and lows of this game.
Fast forwarding to hitting both charges, I can understand you feeling done wrong by that, but I think that like he still like when he fled that spear charge, he opened up an opportunity for you to kind of like position strong and continue to swing back with that flank because he's got no pressure in the center other than the Gorgons. And then what was the deal with this sort of like why did the gargoyles just not have the range to properly chaff the Gorgons, or like what was the point of their positioning there?
Let's see here.
Because
they came from way over here.
Yeah.
I think that's as far as I could go with them.
Okay. It's a little deceiving because like the final positioning of that other gargoyle unit looks almost identical, but I guess relative to the forest they actually moved up. But yeah, I mean that would probably be my one thing, because I think that getting rid of both giants at once just allowed him to sort of move with impunity on that side, whereas if they were like kind of down, forcing him to pay attention to them in the flank, you have a few more options.
Yeah, true. I agree.
I also don't know. Like one thing I was looking at is like, is it possible, like where the giants were to have run up to his bunker with one of them and been out of arc? Maybe not.
Maybe. That is an interesting idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's. I agree with you. Like, this is a bad match on paper, certainly. But yeah, I think maybe playing a little more conservative, pulling the giants. I'd be interested to see what Ben has to say when he sees this too.
Yeah, I feel like those spear units, I could put my wild horns into them, and we're gonna kill a lot of each other. But I didn't want to deplete my wild horn units doing that, trying to just take care of a unit of spears, right? Yeah.
I don't think that you necessarily played it wrong, but I think that maybe looking at kind of like the longer game, right? Having the giants alive and kind of threatening the flank of his advance in that corner might have been a higher value use for them than sort of the big risk, big reward.
The other thing I was thinking is I didn't want to push the giants out wide to the right, because I think the giants taking a charge from that chariot is not a good matchup for me because I'm AP 0.
Yeah, that's fair, but I think that like you certainly have plenty of move because those chariots are only agility or move advanced 7, right? So like you certainly had plenty of move, because if you made 10 or 11 inch charges into the spear unit, then you're already at 17 or 18 inches right now. So you certainly could have pulled back out of its range for one turn.
True. But what can you do?
Yeah.
Ben got me good. Those damn spears.
Yeah. Brutal. Sorry, man. It looks like a tough loss.
That's all right. We were having a good time. Yeah, so that's a 0 for me. It means I'm at 33 for 3 games, so I'm still above average, which I'm fine with. And the next video, we will go through Vespasian's round 3. If anyone's watching, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.